The best of friends.
We're still the best of friends.
No, you're not.
Who says we're not?
Sit somewhere else.
Very brief look at the scene from the Banshees of Inisherin. And remember when Eli reviewed it and gave it 5 stars? He loved it. It's leading the pack for the 80th Golden Globe nominations. As you saw last hour, 8 nominations all told, including Best Movie, Musical or Comedy, Best Actor, Colin Farrell, and Eli is back because looking through all of the lists and counting up the nominations, we can talk more about that. You were right on track with the 5 stars for that movie because you loved it, I remember.
This is a film. It has humor, it has heartbreak, it feels timeless. It's set in Ireland in 1923, and it is about the simplest thing. It's about a friendship that ends. And one character played by Brendan Gleeson, who's an artist, decides, you know what? I need to work on my music. I need to be making great art. I can't listen to you prattle on all day. And there is Colin Farrell in the performance of his career, I would say. And he's a simple man, but a good man, and it breaks his heart. And it starts this chain of events that I think at its heart is how we relate to each other and what happens when that communication breaks down. So it is, in many ways, a modern movie. There's a war happening in Ireland, just off the coast of this island, and it's remarkable. And now it has a lot of nominations, leading the pack, actor, director, screenplay, and more. Certainly you're going to hear about that one, but let's move on to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now this got the majority of its nominations in more the kind of comedy musical category, but still no less deserved, especially the presence of Michelle Yeoh as this woman who realizes she's the crux of this multi-dimensional universe, and she has to find a way to save the universe and everything. Also, fantastic performance by one of my favorites, Jamie Lee Curtis, and so much more. So I think about 5 nominations for this one. Certainly, I guarantee you're going to be hearing about Michelle Yeoh at the Oscars and more, so can't fault the decisions there. Then let's move on to Tar. This is another amazing performance by Oscar-winning actor Cate Blanchett as this conductor who is at the top of her game. You see her being interviewed by The New Yorker at the beginning, but then there are allegations, there's whispers about how she treats her students, and essentially she becomes kind of the target of what some might describe as cancel culture. It's a thriller, it's an inside look at the conducting industry, and so much more. 3 nominations, including screenplay, director, and of course Blanchett. So there you go for that one. That is Tar. Now then, let's move on to Elvis. Elvis is a remarkable movie starring Austin Butler, and it is one of those, you don't see these anymore, kind of like the whole life story of Elvis, growing up infused by black culture and then kind of making it his own, and it's directed by Baz Luhrmann, so you know it's going to be audacious and just a pure spectacle. But you know how the Oscars, remember the performance of Bohemian Rhapsody and Rami Malek, we love it when an actor takes on an icon, and this movie has its faults, but what Austin Butler did is just remarkable. So not surprised to see that doing very well this morning with, I think, 3 nominations, including, Baz Luhrmann, the one and only.
So you're not surprised about this. What did surprise you in the nominations, Eli?
The fact that the Golden Globes, who are known for their, let's say, affection of movie stars, passed over an opportunity to invite Tom Cruise to their show. So Top Gun is nominated, I believe, in 2 categories, Song and Best Picture, and this is a box office monster. They've already brought it back into theaters. It's a nostalgia fest, but this movie is nothing without Tom Cruise. In fact, I would argue it's too kind of in awe of Cruise and what he does. They say he's one of the last of the movie stars, but Cruise was not nominated this morning, and that maybe is a sign of the evolution of the Golden Globes, who have invited a lot more critics who are a lot more representative representative of the audience and the industry the way they weren't in the past, to actually fight those charges of corruption and racism, but nothing for Mr. Cruz. Let's move on, talk about some Canadian news. Sarah Polley for Women Talking. Now, this is a movie you're going to have to wait until the end of this month to see it, but it is fantastic. What an ensemble. Sadly, no acting awards, acting nominations for this one, but she is the woman who adapted the amazing screenplay, and what a story that she is telling. Sarah Polley, Toronto, Canada's own, nominated this morning. And then Angela Bassett, maybe a little surprise, maybe not if you saw what she did in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. She also is nominated this morning. Fantastic. Looking right now at footage of RRR, which is this remarkable film from India, and has really been kind of shaking things up in the Oscar race. A lot of people pushing for the director to be considered, although it's not officially India's pick. That will be interesting to see what happens. It was mentioned this morning at the Golden Globes, but not in any of the major categories. And finally, something to keep your eye on. There's a very loopy, I think is the way to describe it, movie called Babylon, directed by Damien Chazelle, who's the director of La La Land, which you might remember. I loved that movie. This movie is totally different, set in the 1930s and 20s with Margot Robbie and Brad Pitt, who were both nominated this morning. But let me be clear, you've never seen a movie like this. It is outrageous, almost obnoxious, and just the excess and debauchery that you see on screen. So personally, very surprised that Mr. La La Land's Babylon was nominated this morning.
So interesting. Eli, listen, the other thing is we heard about Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and Eli in the commercial break was telling me he's just about to go and interview Guillermo del Toro.
One of my favorite people to talk to. He is kind of a child at heart, such an interesting filmmaker, Shape of Water and more. He loves monsters, he loves filmmaking, and you should really make some time to see Pinocchio. It is nothing like the Disney film, so I cannot wait to dive back into the mind of Guillermo del Toro, and that will be a feature on The National, I think, later this week.
Later this week, and then we'll talk about it when you're back. Are you coming back on Friday? I certainly hope so.
There's a little movie called Avatar, The Way of Waters that I think I'd like to talk about,
I heard of that vaguely. Okay, thank you very much. So see you soon. Eli in Toronto on Golden Globe nomination day.